Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well. I had a pretty good week last week, so I hope you did as well, but I actually had quite a bit come up for me over the weekend, so I'm not sure if anyone else was feeling that. I just wanted to mention that I'd like to change it every week. I don't have one consistent background or anything, but I think that's good. I think it's a reminder to go with the flow and to go with the change and to embrace change. So I kind of make every video different every week. So I hope you kind of enjoy that. This week, again, I'm going to be using the Healing with the Angels Oracle cards. As I've mentioned before, they're the first deck that I've ever received, and it was actually gifted to me. And they are, I believe, the first deck of cards that Doreen Virtue made, which is quite some time ago. If you buy it, it probably won't look like this because I think she made a new version of it, but it's the same kind of deal. And you can see how old it is here with her picture there. It's quite some time ago. So she's been in the business for quite some time, and I think she's just fabulous. So I'm going to focus here, and I've already prayed over the deck before we started filming, as always, and I am just going to ask that the messages that are meant to come through will come through in a loving, gentle way, and that these messages will be able to resonate with everybody who is listening and watching. We have a full moon coming up on Wednesday, I believe, so I kind of feel a little bit of that energy. As I always mention, you know, we are able to learn so much from a full moon. We're always affected by the moon, and if you kind of question that, that is okay too, because we're all perfectly on our paths, and we believe whatever it is we believe for a reason, so there's no right or wrong. But something to ponder for sure is the fact that, or something, so just something to think about, is the fact that I've mentioned before, that the tides are so affected by the moon and we have so much water in our bodies. Kind of makes sense to me that we are affected by the moon and also by the energy. And as I've said before, we are very much like the moon, as in we are always whole, but sometimes our perception says otherwise, right? So it's just kind of interesting. I love the moon. I think the moon is beautiful, our moon, and I'm sure there's many, many moons out there in the universe, but I seem to really love our moon. So that comes up on Wednesday in the middle of the week. And as I've mentioned before, sorry, my chair is like really crackling. It's kind of driving me crazy. Anyway, it's a good time to make lists of what you want more of, lists of what you want less of, things that you want to release and let go of, and just getting focused and in alignment with what you want. So for the beginning of this week, the message is study, which is kind of interesting because this has kind of come up recently in my own readings personally. And I just think it's interesting. For me, it throws me off a little bit, and it may throw some of you off as well. If you have been out of school for quite some time, like I have, if you're not looking to go back to school, this may also make you kind of question what this is about. It's about learning, right? And you don't necessarily have to only learn through the school systems, through a college course, through university. There are many ways to learn and study. And this can even, I feel, involve doing your own research for whatever projects you're looking into. This could be looking into marketing, this can be looking into social media, this can mean reading a certain book that you've been wanting to read for a long time. If there's a certain book that catches your eye when you're in a store, this is the kind of thing. It's personal study, so it doesn't necessarily have to mean going back to an institution of any sort. This is also a message that we're all teachers and students, which is one of my main messages that seems to come up through these readings. And that's just a simple truth. We are all learning perfectly on our paths, and so is everyone else, right? So just by being ourselves and following our own passions and our purpose and our own life path, that inspires others and can help guide others. And same as other people, you know, same vice versa. Other people living their lives can really be inspiring for you. So we can really learn from other people. We can learn from everything around us. Everything is meaningful and everything holds a lesson. And I kind of mentioned this, I think, maybe last week or the week before. about always growing. It's a never-ending thing. It's same as healing, same as any kind of practice in this life. It's kind of like an onion, and you're peeling layers, and it's the same as growth and learning. You can always learn more. You can always acquire more knowledge. There's a never-ending abundant universe, that we live in, and there's never-ending love. There's a huge amount of everything, knowledge out there for us that we can acquire. So that may also mean that you may feel guided to do more meditations or things like this to connect to your higher self and to learn more about yourself in that way. So that kind of, is what I am feeling about that for the beginning of this week, kind of getting in alignment with where you would like to do more studying, where you'd like to do more reading, more researching for yourself to further yourself, your purpose, your mission, your business, whatever it is you're doing. For some people, you may actually be thinking about taking a certain course, so that would obviously apply to you, but I also think it's just about learning in the grand scheme of things and staying open to all the ways that we do learn, and being mindful and being conscious of other people and how much they're teaching you just by being them, and how much you're teaching others just by being you as well. For the middle of the week, I almost hit this and don't want to catch my cards on fire. We have retreat for the middle of the week. That's when we have a full moon. Full moons, as I said, can bring up a lot of stuff for us, so it may be a good time. I think it's always a good time to kind of retreat on a full moon. This saying is silly, but it's so true. Everyone just says, there must be a full moon, it's just crazy outside. You may notice this. You may feel tension in your body. You may see how people are reacting in kind of harsh ways. You may see that people are driving more aggressively, or they may be communicating in a really harsh way with you, or you just may overhear conversations that are just kind of snarky or something. So, that energy is felt by everyone, and it's felt by kids as well. I was talking to someone about this the other day. So kids are very observant. They may be lashing out more. And as we all have, our inner child to take after, our inner child may want to lash out at some point too, right? So take some time to figure out where that's coming from. Feel into that and allow it, and see what's coming up for you in the middle of this week and what is asking to be let go of during this full moon. We're still in some pretty intense times right now, so just try to see what is asking for your attention, what wants to be let go of, and what it is that you would like to manifest more of. So retreating is a good way to do that, because it's hard to really focus and hone in on these things that you really want and that are calling you. If you're surrounded with a lot of crazy energies or negative energies, or if you're just on the go all the time around a lot of other people, a lot of other energies, and it's a full moon, there's going to be a lot of kind of crazy energies, if you will, like there is every full moon. So just pay attention to that. Also, there's going to be a Mercury retrograde coming up soon, and as we know, those are quite some fun times with technology crapping out, travel plans being changed. This is all about going with the flow. And it almost feels like we're being tested in that way to see if we can go with the flow, if we are willing to let go, if we're willing to show up and allow what happens to happen, and trust that it's happening for us perfectly at the perfect divine time, and trust that everyone else is on their path as well. For the weekend, we have children. Was I not just talking about our inner child and the fact that children are very sensitive to energies, and they're very, very much in tune with spirit. And that doesn't have to be a weird thing. I know some people get kind of weirded out when they think about children having imaginary friends or being able to connect with past loved ones. It's really not that scary. Some kids may have some sort of scary experience, but it doesn't have to be that. They can always transform that into something positive. Always, let them know about surrounding themselves with light and calling on Archangel Michael, all of these things. Because they are light. They attract a lot of energy and a lot of spirits. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you do have children, you can definitely let them know that they can call on their guardian angels and Archangel Michael, and like a purple protection light, give them some amethyst or something like that. Like, that's definitely possible. And again, it's important for us to do that as adults as well, because we are sensitive no matter how old we are in this human life, right? We're all souls. We're all a piece of spirit. We're all divine. So it's definitely important to pay attention to that. But as I was saying, for the middle of the week with the full moon, really, you may notice that children, whether you work with children or you have children, or you just may have children in your family somewhere, I think we're all connected to children in some way, which is great, because children are great teachers as well. You can learn a lot from children, which actually would go with the message with the beginning of this week. So notice how they act around a full moon. If you feel like you are being affected by the full moon, but you're having a hard time stepping outside of yourself, because it can be tricky to get a perspective of how you're acting. Many times as an adult, we bottle these things in. And I was having this conversation the other day. We bottle things in. We feel the stress in our body, right? Around a full moon, we may drive aggressively. We may speak aggressively. We may act out in some way. We may, take something the wrong way. We may take something personally, or lash out at a client, or at the grocery store, we may do something really rude, or cut someone off, or someone may cut us off. All of these things happen all the time, of course, but they really do happen when the energy is heightened, when it's intense, when there's full moons, when there's eclipses, when certain planets are retrograde. We're always affected by these energies. And being around children can really help you, because if you see how they're being affected by the energies, they can mirror that to you, because we're very much acting out in the same way as a child would, but they're very much not ashamed, and they're very open about their emotions, and they're very pure in that way, which I think is so fantastic, because they're not blocked in any way. If they are feeling a negative energy, if they're being affected by something, they will let the world know. They will act out. They will have trouble sleeping. They will bring this stuff to your attention, and you may be able to make the connection between how they're feeling, how they're acting, and how you are probably feeling the same thing, but you're trying to repress whatever it is you're feeling, because you have to hold it together as an adult, right? So this is just the kind of thing that we do, but it's kind of about reprogramming our brains and allowing ourselves to be more childlike, to be able to accept and express our emotions, and maybe not throw a tantrum like a child would, but to be able to feel those feelings and to retreat and feel those feelings. I'm not saying we should go lash out on everybody and be like a child. You're allowed to feel these things, and it helps to feel them and retreat at the same time. Allow them to come up, and then be able to let them go, because that's really the only way you can deal with stuff like this, with intense energies of any sort. And with any kind of pattern or problem you have in your life, you have to allow yourself to be able to feel it intensely, and that may not be fun all the time. And then you can release it, because if you always repress and keep stuffing it down, it's always just going to keep cropping back up. And even if you do feel something and let it go, it may very well come back up at some point in your life, because again, we're peeling this onion, and it's a never-ending growth process that we always go through in life. So we're always having to let go and shed and shed and shed layers, and that's okay, that's perfect, that's exactly what life is about. So this week, it's definitely about retreating, paying attention to children, paying attention to your own inner child, what you feel you want to do. Allow yourself to have time to really feel into the emotions and to feel into the intense energies. To, again, as I've mentioned before, make a list of what you want more of, what you want less of, and to be able to face that, because that's the only way you can move forward, is to be able to look at both and not only focus on the positive and only write affirmations and sweep the rest of the stuff under the rug and pretend that you don't have any fears coming up. It's really important to be able to look at the fears that you have, to be able to look at the old patterns that you see resurfacing, how you see yourself acting in the same ways over and over again. Be able to look at that, to forgive yourself for that, to be kind to your inner child, envision yourself as a child, and basically you get to parent yourself now. and it's time for you to be kind to your inner child, and that is a huge part of this week. And it's a time to study and learn about yourself in a new way, to learn from children, to learn from your inner child, learn about your inner child, and do whatever you feel called to do. If there's a book you feel like you need to read, then, take some time to do that. The long weekend is coming up this weekend, so it's a great time to do that. Do some research if you're working on anything. See, what can really push you forward or help you move forward with any kind of projects that you have or any kind of business that you're in. All of the things that you need are available to you. They're always within you. The tools are within you. And again, don't be afraid to ask for help, because helpful people exist that want to help push you forward, and that, it'll work both ways. You will want to help them push forward. We're all here as one to help each other, and we're here to collaborate and support each other, and it's not about being better or worse than anybody. We're equal beings. We're here to help each other move along and to move up. And there are helpful energies always as well. So remember to ask for help from the universe, and ask, again, some humans as well for help, because there are helpful humans, believe it or not. And if you don't really feel like there's helpful humans around you, then, ask your guides, ask your angels, ask Source, ask Spirit, ask God, ask Light, ask any kind of positive energy to help you, and they will assist you and help you attract the things that you need. I hope you guys have a fabulous week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.